What about my love? Wasn't it enough? Just let me know.
Obviously,
you did it, Khalid, and you did it, bro.
I didn't want to, man. It's like I want to.
Damn.
Khalid did a dive bomb.
Yeah,
I just said nah.
Khalid
It's possible.
Fair.
It is. I'll give him that. It is possible.
So,
I'll let you
couple notable things. Obviously, another strong quarterback room here. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Kyle Allen's coming over from the Bills to help them boys out. And then John Rice Plumlee, man. Oh, my God. They got him in there as well. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Cordell Patterson, LaMichael Piron, all there. George Pickens, Calvin Austin, they expect him to take a step up. And Quez Watkins and Van Jefferson, I wouldn't say that that's the strongest wide receiving core. And then they brought in Roman Wilson and Scotty Miller from free agency. So, drafting Roman Wilson. So we'll see how they gel together. But all you can talk about here is young. Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, like I said, has not shown his talent whatsoever like people thought he was going to. He's a very raw player. Pat Freiermuth has pretty much taken the reins as a top 10 quarterback. Or a top 10 tight end. He solidified himself there. Then they bring in Troy Fautanu, Isaac Seumalo from the Eagles, Mason McCormick. They pick him up in the draft. Then they go and draft
Jones they got last year in the draft.
Broderick Jones, Zach Frazier, who I thought was the best center coming out. Nate Herbig, as well from where, Hayden?
Wisconsin, my boy.
He's not even paying attention.
No, he ain't paying attention. Larry Ogunjobi, or as like my wife likes to call him, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Keanu Benton.
Shout out to Isaiah Loudermilk, by the way. Shout out to that guy.
Yep, Isaiah Loudermilk, Cameron Hayward.
We gotta start calling the Steelers Pittsburgh Badgers. I'm just saying. They love the Wisconsin boys.
See if Dean Lowry can make some moves this year. TJ Watt, don't even need to mention him. Cole Holcomb, they brought in Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson in the draft, Nick Herbig, Alex Highsmith, one of the best supporting cast players. When TJ Watt went out, he stepped up. Joey Porter Jr. is everything that you hope he would be. Cam Sutton is suspended for 8 games, right? Mm-hmm. So they won't see him.
Yes.
Minka Fitzpatrick, you know how he gets down. And then Chris Boswell and Cameron Johnston, you know how they get down there. Some of the cream of the crop right there. So, whole roster is young,
and good,
hungry, but they're going against some dogs in their division. And I hate to say I had to put them at 8-9 with their first losing season in a long time. And then watch this dude, Mike Tomlin, come out of nowhere and get these boys to be 9-8 again.
I know, right? That's what I'm like.
I did that last year. I learned my lesson. Not give Mike Tomlin.
But this is the year that we could talk about.
We said that last year too, though.
If Mike, I didn't say that we're going to be talking about Mike Tomlin as being on the decline. This is the year that you could probably talk about it.
This year, I like the Steelers this year more than I did last year. You still got George Pickens there. The receiving core did take a dip with Deontay Johnson going to the Panthers, but you still
Deontay Johnson didn't show up for half the season.
But still, he was part of that core, and it was a
shoot. I could have done what he did if I just stand around and watch my teammate fumble the ball and just not do anything. I could have done that. Where's my $1 million? Really?
Oh, no, but you added Russell Wilson, which is an upgrade. You added Justin Fields to help develop him and make him the quarterback that the Bears couldn't. I loved what they did this offseason with that. I also loved they basically addressed the middle linebacker position this offseason, which was a question mark that they had, adding Patrick Queen, who I think is going to take a step and assert himself as a top linebacker even more than what he already has. So I love that deal. I think Pittsburgh's defense just got better and better. And
Patrick Queen
in a division where you got to deal with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson.
Are you saying Patrick Queen? Is that what you were saying, sir?
Yes.
To solidify itself even more?
Yes.
He was an all-pro, Hayden. What else does he have to do?
All-Pro. First team All-Pro, and he's going to be top 5.
He don't need to prove himself anymore. He's there. He just has to keep it up.
A top 5 linebacker, sir.
Oh, top 5. Okay.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Okay, bro.
All right,
And I love that movie.
Somebody timestamp this, and if he's on Hayden's top 5 list next year, if Hayden's still here, then we get the pitchforks.
No, but with Patrick Queen, I love it because you're heading to the division where you got Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. That's a good way to counter that with that defensive line they got there already.
He could have just stayed.
He could have stayed and didn't have to face it, but he said, "Nah, I'm going to face this head on."
Yeah, I'm going to face a top 5 running back and quarterback, and hopefully not get my shit kicked in.
Hey, I cannot wait to see them two go at it in the middle of the field. That's going to be fun. But I got Pittsburgh 9-8. Like Mike Tomlin, year in, year out. No matter how bad this team is, no matter how bad the quarterback play is, from a Ben Roethlisberger on his last leg about to retire, getting them to the playoffs, to Kenny Pickett disaster, and now he has probably the best quarterback he's had since a consistent Big Ben. I'm excited to see what he can do this year.
The Steelers are going to have it rough, man.
Exactly. Here's the problem. They're going to suffer. It's going to be exactly with what we said. It's going to be a late season resurgence by Mike Tomlin to get these boys over 500, because they're going to need to figure out if they're rolling with Russell Wilson all year or if Justin Fields, they don't really know what they have in their number 1 and number 2 quarterbacks. Outside of George Pickens, it's which version of Van Jefferson are you going to get? The one on the Falcons, which I think that, is just terrible situation, or the one on the Rams? So which version of Van Jefferson are you going to get? George Pickens, it's a toss up. There'll be some times where he disappears, but majority of the time, he's on point. So, Pat Freiermuth, you don't got to worry about that. But in my opinion, that's your most consistent weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Not George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth.
Hello.
Maybe Darnell Washington will be able to do something. Maybe he'll get a chance to play. I don't know. Their O-line is still quite young. How well is that going to mesh together? Again, Zach Frazier, Troy Fautanu, both rookies. Isaac Seumalo, kind of your veteran there with James Daniel. And then Broderick Jones, you drafted last year. So your O-line is young. How are they going to mesh together? You've invested in O-line now. This will probably take another year or two, though, to fully mesh together as the plan. Defense front 7 looks good. The problem is outside of Joey Porter Jr., you don't really got much. I mean, Dante Jackson's kind of just been a shell of himself. He really only was he flourished his first couple of years at Carolina, and then after that just dropped off. Josiah Scott as your slot corner. Good luck with that. He was on Philly. I'm sorry. Just get prepared, man. That's all I can say. Cameron Sutton out for 8 games. That's going to hurt. You got Minka Fitzpatrick. You got Alex Highsmith. You got Patrick Queen. So it's like you've got good defensive players, but your cornerbacks are not good. And in this division, you need good cornerbacks. There's a lot of good wide receivers out there. Zay Flowers. What's his face? Amari Cooper. Jamar Chase. You're going to face some of the younger guys like Jermaine Burton. You're going to face, Tez Walker, Charlie Jones, Andre Oshavas, and that's all just on one team.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's your cornerbacks it is never nice when your cornerbacks are the weakest spot on your team. Trust me, ask Philly. They double dipped. They did not want to deal with that.
So it's like, I have experienced pain. Look at Detroit.
I got PTSD, dog. Like
we'll talk about here in a little bit with Detroit.
Yeah, so I got them at 9-8. I think it's going to be a slaughter at the beginning of the season. It's going to take them a while to find out, but once they do, man, Mike Tomlin's just going to lock in, and just get them above 9-8. I think he'll get them to 3rd. I think he's going to, etch a win over the Browns and get them into 3rd place. And by then, hopefully you find out if like Justin Fields is your guy, or, maybe you can squeeze out another year out of Russell Wilson. But I don't know, man. I think it's gonna take a while, man.
Yeah,
You're gonna be stuck in first gear for a while.
I see some people say that they're not big fans of George Pickens. How?
I can understand, just simply because there are times, and I think majority of what it was when he went on that whole like diva tangent.
Yeah.
In that mid-season. But again, Pat Freiermuth is the Steelers' most consistent weapon. And if George Pickens can just get it all, because, you know, there were diva moments there. I think we can all agree on that. That was nothing that was hidden. It's not like, oh, this is brand new. This is something reoccurring that happened even in college. But when he is able to, you know, when he's able to be 100%, when he's consistent week in and week out, then yes, you can get it. The George Pickens that we saw at the end of the year, you know, he had over 1,000 yards. It's just he needed help, and he also just needed to be fully consistent. That was the problem. You can't put all the blame on George Pickens, but there is some. He didn't have any help.
Oof.
I mean, I think Ǩa'Li put it pretty good. When he is high, but when he is cold, he is freezing.
But how much was that because of play calling with Matt Canada and having Kenny Pickett?
Exactly. That's another thing
quarterback?
that's another thing that we have to look at. I agree. I think it's going to be different. I think he's gotten better help because, again, Deontay Johnson just kind of stopped giving a shit at all.
I mean, how many people wouldn't have flipped out having Kenny Pickett as your quarterback and Matt Canada making play calls, man? Like,
again,
I don't know.
That's fair.
I totally get why he was flipping out a little bit, because it's like he wasn't getting the ball when he was supposed to get the ball. Like, and I wouldn't say that about any other receiver, to be honest, but like, truly, he was not getting utilized the way that he probably should have. I mean, he's out there making these incredible blocks on people, and then you don't award him by not throwing it to his side when he's wide open. And I mean, I've watched my share of Steelers games because my wife's a Steelers fan and her family's Steelers fans. So I've had a real intimate time of watching the Pittsburgh Steelers, and George Pickens is way better than what people give him credit for. I get that you might not like his attitude, but the kid, that dude's going to be special. And if he's got the connection like what Justin Fields had with DJ Moore or Russell Wilson had with, you know, his previous receivers, he's going to be all right. I think one guy that's going to eat a little bit more than what people give him credit for is Scotty Miller, though. I think Scotty Miller is going to be an X factor for their team. For whatever freaking reason, you know how Russell Wilson likes he likes them little running backs or them little wide receivers that can get open. Torque said, I mean, is he better than Amari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk, Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, DK Metcalf? I would take George Pickens over Chris Godwin. I would take him over, in certain situations, over DK Metcalf. But the other three, no. We haven't really seen a fall off by Amari Cooper. Every time we think he's going to fall off, he does it. It's like we've been secretly praying on this man's downfall for no reason.
Expect to see a lot of Scotty Miller too, because they got Arthur Smith, who loves to make distractions, and we learns out in Atlanta.
Arthur Smith was a better coordinator than he was head coach.
I agree.
So.
I agree 100%.
I mean, it's absolutely a huge upgrade for them.
That is exactly, though, what I said when Arthur Smith was talked about, and even when he got hired. That man better write a thank you note and give him part of his check to Derrick Henry, because that man got him a head coaching job.
It did. Although I say Derrick Henry helped give Matt LaFleur a head coaching job as well.
Chris Godwin, I can agree with Chris Godwin and DK Metcalf. All
right.
I don't know. I think I think it could be a coin flip for McLaurin.
I would say to people that are not big fans of him, give it this year. I don't know. I kind of don't know what Najee has to do to prove people that he's good too. I mean, the guy's consistently running for 1,000 yards with an up and down offensive line and up and down quarterback too. So,
and a very good running back too.
I mean, I'm not the hugest fan of Najee, but
you gotta give flowers.
I can't say that he's not at least a top 10 running back in the league.
I would honestly
I-
argue and say that's what's going to get George Pickens more hate, because you got to think about Arthur Smith, all the running back rotations that he likes to do with Najee and Jalen Warren. You're not going to see a lot of George Pickens, though. So if he messes up, that's going to be a greater sample size.
Facts.
So it's a dangerous game. If there are those weeks that George Pickens is cold, he's going to garnish a lot more hate.
I agree. Let's head to the best division now in football.
Okay, stop with the bias. Stop.
All
it.
right.